My grandfather's name was Johnny Lavallee. That's where I get my name from, John Lavallee. He originally came from St. Laurent, Manitoba, another Métis community just east of us, a Michif-speaking community. Mostly, if I can say, all of St. Ambrose was Métis, Michif-speaking. Around 1860s, when the first people came to St. Ambrose to settle around the area, they became fishermen, they became trappers, they became hunters. There was never any shortage of food for the Métis people that lived in the area. And they were staunchly religious people because of the nuns and the priests in the community. They were very, very much Catholic, in my community anyway. And they followed the church closely, they donated to the church, they gave to the church, and so on and so forth. They identified with the church. And that's where it was passed down to us. I grew up, went to school with nuns and priests in the community, you see. And that affected my language at that time, okay, my Michif-French. Because the parents were always working out of town, because that's the way it was then. The children, well, they went to school and they learned the languages that was in the school, whether it was French or whether it was English. And that's the reason why I lost the Cree and the Soto part of my Michif that my mother and dad and my grandfather used to speak, because of the teachings that I had. And it became my language, the Michif-French, and that's what I speak. I can understand some of what other Michif speakers are saying in different parts of the province, but not all, because they use the Cree and the Soto and other languages in their Michif, whereas I don't. My grandfather was a mentor for a lot of people, for his children especially. I learned a lot of this stuff by following. I followed my father. I followed my brothers and my uncles, because that's what they used to do. That was their way of life, and it became my way of life. People in the community were always looking out after each other. We used to share our bounty. My grandfather sowed that big garden. He had a great big garden. It was way too much for him, but he knew that other people needed it. And it was like that all around the community, okay, all sections of the community where people would grow big gardens. They didn't need it, but they put it in the ground so other people could enjoy. If some family was having a bad time or a hard time, then we'd kill another deer and give it to the other family, to that family. That was the way of life. That was our way of life. That's how we gave to each other, you see. And people got along really well as well, you know. My grandfather used to sing when he used to feed his pigs, you know, milk the cows, chop wood he used to sing. And nobody ever heard those songs before because he was making them up. And it was all about what he was doing, and it was all in Michif. So it was very, very interesting, very nice to hear when I was a young kid, to listen to this, you know. They celebrated weddings, birthdays, and so on. They celebrated. They always had a celebration of some sort. Easter, okay, they celebrated Easter as well. And a lot of these songs were made during New Year's, le temps du jour de l'an, because a lot of people like to go around and have a little sip of wine here and there, and you know, they'd go around with their horses and their cutters and their sleighs, make a fire in a caboose, and go around and visit. And there was a lot of people, many families came to our place on New Year's Day. And there were other people coming in with other songs as well, and the fiddle was going, and you know, maybe there was a guitar in it or something like that. Les quilleurs, ça jouait des quilleurs, they play spoons, stuff like this. That was their musical instruments. Delta Marsh is a big marsh that's close to St. Ambrose, and that's where the men would guide. My grandfather was a guide back in 1919. Everything was done manually back then. Putting nets under the ice was a lot of work. And after 2 or 3 days, we would go check these nets, and then we'd have to chop the holes over again just to pull the nets out, chop a hole at the other end to tie the string on. And these people here would pull the net out, take the fish out as the net was coming out. And while the net was coming through, that string would go under. And then when they'd get at the other end, they'd say, okay, pull it back under. The guy over there would grab the string and pull on the string, and the net would go under again. It was quite a system that they had. A lot of the things that my grandfather used to do, my dad used to do, I carried on because I love that type of life. It's my life. It's what I've learned. I could have ignored that stuff. I wouldn't be sitting here today if I ignored that stuff. I wouldn't be teaching Michif classes if I ignored that stuff. I probably wouldn't even be speaking the Michif language if I ignored that stuff. It's vitally important to keep that within you. That way I can relay that stuff to you guys, all of you. Okay, I can tell you about my background. I can tell you about the life my grandfather used to live. I've kept on to my Michif background, but I don't know how far it'll go. Will it stop at when I pass away? I don't know. They are trying to revitalize this language. And it's a good thing that this is happening, because maybe, hopefully, we can carry it down until, never stops. People will always realize, will always remember, hey, there was a language there that my father, my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather spoke. That's what I want to carry forward. And that's what I would like to do.